Khan. So like I'm gonna continue on. The migrants initially found other ways to cross nearby until they were comforted by the federal state law enforcement. An Associated Press reporter saw Haitian immigrants still crossing the river into the U.S. about 1.5 miles, 2.4 kilometers east of the previous spot, but they were eventually stopped by Border Patrol agents on horseback and Texas law enforcement officials. As they crossed, some Haitians carried boxes on their heads filled with food. Some removed their pants before getting into the river and carried them. Others were unconcerned about getting wet. Agents yelled at the migrants who were crossing in the waist-deep river to get out of the water. The several hundred who had successfully crossed were sitting along the riverbank on the U.S. side were ordered to the Del Rio camp. Go down, agents yelled. Mexican authorities and an airboat told others trying to cross to go back into Mexico. Migrant Charlie Jean.
Right. Salakin. So that scene being described there of those poor people risking their lives. Risking their lives to try to cross that river to get to a better place for their lives, for their children. The sad part is even their own people who are over here under Christianity hates to see them do that. You understand? They hate them. They have no compassion on their own. Why? Because they don't want to be associated with that. Any other nation, any other heathen nation would have seen their own people crossing the river like that, they'd be in the streets.
Right.
They'd be in the streets asking for support and protesting. You understand? But the Haitian people under Christianity, they see that happening and they turn their heads because in their minds that has nothing to do with them. You understand? That's why they've been taught they love a heathen. You'll quicker see a Haitian person raised in America supporting the Afghanistans than supporting these brothers and sisters here who's trying to get to safety.
Come, that's happening. Because when it first happened with the Afghanistans, I'm in the store and I see Israelites talking about like it's a sad situation. You know what I mean, with the Afghanistans. And I was frustrated. A lot of times I'll hold my tongue, to get out there on that mic, on that street corner. And that's how you got to go at it. You got to go at them street corners and raise the roof up.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't show the public no damn mercy, man. You got to make people aware of it and make them want to either get on board or make them want to get the hell away and stay with the whiteys.
Right.
It ain't no straggling the fence now. That time should be over, man. Like we're gonna constantly be abused. Constantly. Like America, man. Goddamn America, man.
That's right. Right.
Goddamn America. And all the heathen nations, man.
That's right.
I put them all in the same damn boat.
Come.
You know what I mean? And it's funny, man, how our black people here in America will disrespect the Haitians, but talk about loving the Africans. Right. Like, I don't even really understand that garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how the hell you gonna have love from somebody that think that you a destroyed slave in America?
Right.
Like, you talking about going to some damn Africa and loving the Africans. Negro, you in another land, under another people, man.
Right.
You got the Haitian brothers that also came over here in slave ships. Like, where the hell is the love for them?
Right.
But you're gonna love the people that captured us, and not the victim, not the captive. You're gonna have that love for the white man and the Africans and the Arabs. It's a disrespect. Like, brothers got to man the hell up, man. We got to charge brothers that ain't speaking on this, man.
Right.
It got to be some pushback now. You got a little homo Nas X, little goddamn fairy, man. He need to get punched in his mouth. I'm not saying go and do it, but he need to get punched in his damn mouth with that silly nonsense, man.
Right.
Somebody and ain't no black celebrity stepping to him. And if he did, he better realize that he might get a lot of pushback from America. I wish I was a rapper, man, because I would love that pushback.
Right.
You know what I mean? I take on the warfare. Like brothers ain't willing to take on the warfare, man.
If I could too, and off of what Officer Williams said, the same thing with the Mexicans who come up against Mexicans right across the border.
Right.
Like because you're a brother, a Chicano born in America makes you better than a Mexican that's born in Mexico. Right. Does that make you better because you speak English? Because you get to put American money in your pocket. Does that make you better than your counterparts in Mexico? You ain't better. You're a beaner to the white man, regardless if you're born here or you're born in Mexico.
Right.
And you should stand with your brothers, not stand with Donald Trump, as we saw. You know what I'm saying? As we saw, when all the rallies, you had your groups of Latinos for Trump, Latino blacks for Trump. Like, slavery and oppression don't make you realize why side with a snake. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know you're about to get bitten. And for sure, the articles like this that we constantly see is a serpent biting our people.
Right, that's a smack in our face.
Yeah. Don't come.
And we're supposed to bring that out as I.S.U.P.K. warriors, man. We're supposed to hit them streets hard with a bunch of pushback. Constantly with all these current articles that's coming up. These things coming up in the news, man. You're supposed to jump right on that and go out there and push it. We just keep taking a beat down. I call it a beat down, man. When I see my people being abused, I'm taking a beat down. That's how I look at it. It's damn near like the only way for me to fight back is to go out there in these streets.
That's right.
And blaze the streets, man.
That's right.
Like most of them just trying to eat. Like damn. Most of them they can give them some visas, the work visas. Come on, man. But automatically, they're going to send the Haitians back. Out of everybody that crossed that water, they going back. It's damn near like no talking, no plea deal, or nothing.
That's it.
You out of here.
That's
right.
It.
And then white people going to try to snatch their kids while they over there in Haiti.
Right.
So they can bring them over here, and then them kids will hate the Haitians that do that.
Right.
If I could too, Lord knows what our brothers and sisters in Haiti, they get adopted by these oppressors, what they doing to them kids behind closed doors. Right. On top of all this, Lord knows with them brothers and sisters trying to cross the border, how many of them get snatched up by them type of people. And Lord knows what happens to them. The same way that we don't know what happens to a lot of them kids that are detained from the tribe of Zebulon and I.S.U.P.K that's detained right now at the borders. Like Lord knows the missing kids. Nobody knows nothing about them. There's no paperwork on them or anything like that, you know?
Right. And they in the so-called white man's detention system. How the hell you come up missing? That don't make no slaves.
Do you move on to the next person?
It's up to you. It's up to you.
Hey, Murad, you
can pick a good one out.
Yeah,
Khan.
You can go to a next story.
That's good. One last thing.
Good.
When you read that article and you visualize what's really happening in that situation, you realize how much of a strategist the Lord really is. You understand what I mean? You realize how much of a strategist the Lord is because the Lord is leaving no room for mistake. What's happening there is the Lord is putting in front of, mind you, the greatest commandment after love the Lord, your God, is to love your brother.
That's right.
You understand? That's the greatest commandment. And now, when you think about scriptures like and the books were opened, these are the records that are going to be found in the books. Right. You understand? In the book of Revelation, when you hear that the books were opened, you're going to see one of the main things is how did you feel about your brothers in their misery? You understand? Right. I mean, if I could get a scripture, if possible, sir.
God.
So, like, if I get a scripture on Proverbs chapter 28.
Let's see if Marad get it. If not, I'm going to get it.
Come.
Pull up a chair, come
If I get scripture, Proverbs chapter 28, verse 27, Lord makes it clear. I mean, and there's going to be no excuse after you, because you can't say you didn't hear about what was going on to the poor people of Haiti. You understand? When they was trying to cross those rivers with babies on their backs.
Right.
You understand? Because the records, when it says books were opened, the books of how you felt about the Haitian people crossing and the books of how you felt when the Afghanistan people crossing will be recorded.
That's right.
You understand? And you will be judged on those books. Give me Proverbs 28, verse 27.
And here's the bad thing. Black leadership ain't saying a goddamn thing about it but the ISUPK.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, they ain't saying a word. Like, the Haitian people here supposed to be putting pressure on black leadership.
If I could too, behind that, because I was thinking just that, right? And now you see why it's so just that the Lord, when the time comes and the lake of fire, not only is the devil going there, but who else?
False prophets.
The false prophets. Because you do not go out there and speak against the atrocities that are happening to your very flesh and blood.
Right.
You just let it happen. Like, it don't matter to you. It don't matter to you, right? Keep master happy, right? How long you gonna keep master happy? Huh? How long? That's why the Lord got to come and do what he got to do.
Right.
And it's always going to be right. And nobody's going to say a damn thing because it's going to be right.
Right.
Go ahead.
Proverbs 28, verse 27. He that giveth unto the poor shall not lack.
Read it again.
He that giveth unto the poor shall not lack.
He that giveth unto the poor. It's saying, it's classifying the poor here for a reason. Because if this was France, there'll be French flags all over social media.
Right.
You understand? There'll be French flags all over, everybody be supporting France.
Yeah.
But this is why the Lord said, he that giveth unto who?
The poor.
He that giveth unto the poor. You understand me? Giving mercy unto the poor. He will not lack. That's what the Lord said. But go ahead.
But he that hideth his eyes shall have many a curse.
He that has his eyes, meaning what? You pay no attention to it. You ignore it, you take no heed to it. You don't even complain about it. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have the courtesy to say, these poor people. You actually hate them for even trying to get a better life for themselves after this death has destroyed their homes. You understand what I mean? That's why the Lord is going to judge us. You understand? The Lord will judge Israel based on this, because Lord knows when you are a respecter of persons.
Right.
And the Lord knows if this was Ireland going through it, our reaction would be completely different as it is in America here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we definitely got to make sure that we are not taking our eyes off the poor, because that's who the Lord's eyes are on. The Lord's eyes are not on the people of Afghanistan.
Right.
You understand? The people of Afghanistan are a bunch of traitors to their people who, when Esau left, they had to leave too. You understand? And they're going to come over here and get rich.
Right.
That's all I have to say.
Because it's the same thing happening basically in Afghanistan. But the media is making it look so, like when they show the Afghanistan, you see sad faces of Afghanistan women with holding children with sad face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they like, who's going to help them now?
Right.
You know, America done turned their back. No, America was just at war with them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then when they show the Haitian people, it's like they threatened to cross the water, sneaking in America.
Right.
But you say one thing.
You know what I mean? Like they're criminals. Like that's illegal. You know what I mean?
It's so much for America and save the children, right? You know, like, remember that campaign, John?
Right.
They had to save the campaign
Right.
Commercials. What happened to the children of Haiti?
Right.
Don't they deserve to be saved as well? Don't they deserve some charity? What happened to all that? No, but because they Haitians, they're not even a factor in the American society.
Right. Because America always remember that the Haitians kicked their behind.
Right.
Every time they think it was or see a Haitian. These are the people that beat us up and got their freedom.
Right.
Just like they look at us as just being slaves.
Right.
So, hey, Marat, you can get that next story.
You got John to read one.
Count on one con, sir.
With that, because since we it kind of went there, but we never went about the probe in the Southern Baptist Church.
Yeah, come. Probe of Southern Baptist sex abuse response moves forward. The Rev Marshal Baylock feels the weight of his new responsibility. The South Carolina pastor served as a vice chair of recently formed Southern Baptist Convention Task Force charged with overseeing an investigation into how top denominational committee handled sex abuse allegations. A review that comes years into the SBC's public reckoning with the scandal.
So what I'm hearing is that they had to have a task force because there's so much of sexual abuse going on in the Christian church.
Connor with Con, sir.
Damn.
Oh, it's supposed to be the house of worship.
Right. Right.
They worship.
Like they had to form a task force because of the so many cases in the years of sexual abuse. Ain't that something? Go ahead. Over the was
Morocco.
no another brother.
Oh, Salaki. Yeah.
What's your name again, brother?
Salaki, sir, you're dying.
Yediah. I can't. I was saying Yediah. Salaki, Yediah.
Connor with Con.
The tip of my tongue.
Connor with Con. Baylock thinks the work of the task force set in motion in June by vote of Southern Baptists at a national gathering could be a foundational part of the SBC's addresses the issue in the future. If the task force does what the convention's asked us to do, if the executive committee responds favorably, I think we're making huge first steps towards really setting the future towards preventing and appropriately responding to and caring for sexual abuse survivors.
That shit is like,
Go ahead.
that's crazy because like the crazy part about that is it's like after the centuries and centuries of child abuse, they think in 2021 they finally found a solution. This problem is not a new problem. I mean, because this problem now is, I'll give you an example. I know there was a case in the Christian church about child molestation. And when they took that little girl to the room to speak to her about it, about what happened to her, the Christian pastor or the leaders asked her a simple question. They said, it's unfortunate this happened to you, but would you drag God's name through the mud because this happened to you? I mean, would you drag God's name through the mud? So they're basically saying, you got to eat that.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to eat that,
Right.
And you know, you can't bring any negative light on our God's name. You understand? If they knew the God of Israel told you, if you do it in secret, I will do it on the rooftops. You understand? He's not hiding nothing from nobody.
That's right.
You understand? We're not capable of protecting the Lord's name. You understand what I mean?
Right.
So he don't need us to defend his name. He wants justice. And these people here, they don't understand that. They think in 2021 the task force is gonna kill all the child molestation that has been happening. When by now the monster's already grown. It's too strong to kill now. It's like
Right. It's
Good morning, everyone.
a haven.
right.
You know what I mean? Where you go just to, have sex at. Like just like, what's that? Boys in the Hood. And my man asked I.S.U.P.K in them, and he said, where's a place where they got a lot of freaks at? And they kept naming it the club. And they started naming the Crenshaw such and such. And my man said, nah, the Christian church.
Right. Right.
And everybody that saw that movie know that they was talking, that they were saying the truth about the Christian church.
Right.
Because that's where all that's where all of the abuse come from, man. That's where homosexuals are born out of.
Right.
Lesbians are born out of it, being molested by pastors.
Slocky, if I could, sir.
Or with
Every sexual deviant has uttered these words. I gave my life to Christ. Every sexual, because they got to give it to somebody because they realize how worthless their lives have been after all the evil they've done on this earth.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Not one sexual deviant has uttered those words.
Right.
And it has not changed them yet.
Right.
Slocky.
Man, drug dealers go there.
Right.
Because ain't nobody gonna tell them to stop selling drugs.
Right.
Ain't nobody gonna tell them how filthy they are. Homosexuals go there. Because ain't nobody gonna tell them, man, God is gonna destroy you. And God said it's an abomination.
Right.
Ain't nobody gonna tell a stripper to stop stripping.
Right.
So a stripper gonna go there and feel good and feel godly.
Okay.
So like they tell them to come as you are.
Yeah, they tell you to come as you are, right? And you can stay as you are because ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
Right.
You know?
And that's why, because when you come as you are, people already come in as sexual deviants and all type of other sinners that never, like the general says, they stay as they are. They never change.
Right. Adultery committed there, child molestation, all that. So it's a joke. The Christian church is a joke, and then they get mad while the Hebrews talk about them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we make them look bad because you run around with our Bible, you know what I mean, like it's a prop, like you following everything in there. Meanwhile, you breaking every law that's in the Bible and telling people that it's okay to break those laws.
You know, and the sad part about that, on top of that, is that these things happen, and yet there are some people in the church who support the pastor no matter what. No matter what, you know, just like with Eddie Long, you remember him? Eddie Long, right? They had congregants in the church that still backed them up, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Even though the evidence was right there plain in the face. Right. You know, which is ridiculous. The Lord told us not to trust those places. Right. You know, if you could get that scripture.
Okay. Jeremiah 7 verses 4.
And before you get that, and that's because the entire Christian church go unchecked, those leaders. Like another leader ain't gonna check them on this, man. Yo, man, that was wrong. You know what I mean? Like in I.S.U.P.K, you do something that's wrong, you're gonna get checked on it immediately from a man that's over. Right.
Jeremiah 7 verses 4. Trust ye not in lying words.
Say it again.
Trust ye not in lying words.
The Lord told us clearly, trust ye not in lying words. Why? Because anybody can tell you anything that sounds good, that look pretty, you know what I'm saying, that smell wonderful, you know, and it seemed right? Like the blood of Jesus, you know, have a personal relationship with Jesus, with God. That all sounds wonderful. But God said, trust ye not in lying words.
Right, and they also say, God hates the sin, but still love me anyway. Yeah, love the sinner. Right. I don't know, I wasn't in the Christian church, but that's how he
right.
Okay. It's a lot.
Yeah, on top of that is God loves everybody. You know, John 3:16. All that sounds great and wonderful. Right. Until your child get molested.
And the laws done away with.
And the laws are done away with. Until a bunch of sexual deviants come out to the forefront and rape that little child that you so loved. And then that child grows up to be a homosexual or lesbian.
And let me say this. And here's the thing about it, the witchcraft in the Christian church. That the parent don't even give a damn. Right. Them guys that got molested by Eddie Long, did you hear any of the parents? Did you even see a photo of the parents?
If I may add to what you just said, I remember in Florida a couple of years ago, there was this Christian church who was pastor.
You talk loud.
There's a Christian church in Florida a couple of years back. There was this pastor who got locked up for child molestation. Right. He you know, when you catch a child case, you can't be around his children. Right. Right. So what the women of the church said, they put every child who's under 18 out. He couldn't come back. Why? Because this pastor, he brought revenue to the church. Right. You understand? So the parents don't care as long as the church is shining. Right. They get money. Right. They're gonna sacrifice their kids.
Right. And he probably orchestrated that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he used women to do it.
Right.
If I could, sir, in the witchcraft behind it, sir, if I could, the witchcraft behind it is you're going to heaven. So you're willing to suffer your child being molested if at the end of the tunnel you're going to heaven. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's something that every religion uses, you know, because as long as you're going to heaven, it will get better. Yeah. Right? She got molested, but, you know, why throw away heaven? You understand? In the I.S.U.P.K, we're told we have to build heaven, man. Right. We have to build it here. We have to sacrifice. We have to change. Right. You understand? Ain't no going to heaven. How the hell you gonna go to heaven a child molester? Right. You know or a stripper. A stripper. Come.
That's like never leaving the block.
Exactly.
Exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
In Tacoma Park, you heard about that. the pastor who got charged with rape, 2 counts of rape in Tacoma Park.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, something. Go ahead.
He ain't had time to try to finesse, so he just straight up raped.
Rape. You know what I'm saying?
Dang.
You know, that goes.
That sounded like a Hamite though. Was he a Hamite?
I don't know what he was a brother.
He was a brother. You're right. I believe so. Damn.
See that? Le gustan la iglesia, no es la.
Go ahead.
Le gustan la iglesia, ¿verdad? Aleluya, bendito sea el nombre Señor, hasta que te violan tus hijos, hasta que toman tus hijos y hacen lo que le den la gana. You know, what I just said was that you love the church and hallelujah and all that until they molest your children. Right, until they do whatever they so please with your children. You know what I'm saying? That's why Lord is telling us, trust not in lying words, Lord.
Saying the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord.
You see that? Read it one more time.
Trust ye not in lying words, saying the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord or deeds.
The basic instruction was right there in the scripture. Trust ye not in lying words. And for sure, that's the problem. That we hear people say, well, this is the church of God. This is the house of this, right? This is the temple of that, and so on and so forth. And time again, year after year, you know what I'm saying? We see the same stories over and over and over again. Who got molested? Oh, for real? Oh my gosh, what a tragedy. No, the tragedy was that our leaders permitted these churches to go up in the first place. Just like they permitted the drug dealings to happen in the first place.
Right.
Just like they let these sexual deviants happen in the first place. Right. That's the tragedy.
Right. And the biggest tragedy is no one feels sorry for the victim.
There you go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everybody, like even within the conscious community, they more concerned with whether Polite is guilty or not. And no one is concerned with, yo, what's up with the young girl? Right. You know what I mean? Like people tend to forget about the victim. We've been victimized. That's why when brothers be talking about they gangsters, nah, nigga, you a victim.
Yeah, right.
You the real victim. You just don't know it. Yep. They got you posing as Al Capone and all that other nonsense. But really, you the victim.
That's right.
You the one that goes to jail and get long sentences. You the victim that the police beat down. The police wasn't beating down Al Capone. Right. You know what I mean? So you the real vic in America, man. We the real vic. You know what I mean?
If I may, after what you said, the police wasn't beating down Al Capone. They called him Mr. Untouchable.
Right.
He was getting away from it. They got John down and Teflon dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Untouchable, John got it. Yeah.
But us, we could pull those, stop them first and beat down and wake up with urine that's not ours on us.
Right.
You understand? So we victims here.
Right. God. Good point.
And when you said so you started talking about the victim. You remember the brother who was a victim of Eddie Long, and he ended up committing suicide because nobody asked how you doing. Everything was right. Nobody helped him out like that.
And you know what? Under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, we was the only ones, especially GEN.YAHANNA, went hard on it. You know what I mean? He was the only one that spoke about the Eddie Long.
That's right.
You know? And we took it. We hit the streets.
Yup.
Right after that.
If I can add on to that is so true. Where if you black in this country, Latino in this country, and you see Commander GEN.YAHANNA hit them streets hard off of that. But where was Al Sharpton and Creflo Dollar, right? They all up on TV, right? They got cable channels, right? You see their faces. Their names are known. They got books. They fill stadiums. And not one of them went to inquire about the victims of Eddie Long.
Right. Yep.
It's a lot to say.
We even made it, non-stop made a poster.
Right.
Eddie Long.
Right. That was all. That was hard.
Yeah, man. And that's what brothers in the camps got to do. You got to push this. You got to push everything that's what's going on with America. Yeah. Anything else?
No, that was good. That was in. Did you go get the next story?
Okay.
Mariah, you get the next story? Okay, sir.
Colonel Wakan, sir.
All right.
Photos show North Korea expanding uranium enrichment plant. Recent satellite images show North Korea is expanding a uranium enrichment plant at its main Yongbyon nuclear complex, a sign that it's intent on boosting the production of bomb materials, experts say. The assessment comes after North Korea recently raised tensions with its first missile test in the 6 months amid a long dormant nuclear disarmament negotiations with the United States. The expansion of the enrichment plant probably indicates that North Korea plans to increase its productions of weapons-grade uranium at the Yongbyon site by as much as 25%.
Salaki. So the heavy thing about this is, while simultaneously, while the Haitians are going through what they're going through, while the black people are going through what they're going through, while the Mexicans are going through what they're going through, you understand what I mean? Simultaneously, the Lord is preparing war for this earth, man. You understand? Everything's in front of us. You understand? Including the wars. You understand? The Lord, like we've been praying in the I.S.U.P.K forever to, you know what I mean, open up the internet and the airwaves. You understand what I mean? Right. We want to see what's going on. And the Lord has shown us exactly what's going on all ends, from the destruction of our people to the war that's getting ready to happen. You understand? So when you see all these things happening, where you see the poor being abused, where you see North Korea preparing nuclear weapons, the coronavirus, and all these other things happening, what you need to be doing is making sure that when the Lord judges you or the Lord visits you, that you're found to have loved your brother and his poverty. You understand? That's why I love that scripture with the sister who the Lord has sent the prophet to. What's the prophet's name? Elijah. I mean, the Lord did something amazing that in that story, where not only he showed you why he saved the sister, because he let the sister prove why he saved her. But later on, it tells you there were many widows in Israel in those days, but the Lord only saved one. Right. You understand what I mean? It's going to be the same thing again. You understand? Where the Lord is going to save those who love the poor.
And then just to piggyback, and there's many widows today in Israel, in America.
Right.
A lot of these older women are single.
Right.
A lot of these sisters are single. And they go find companion out of a Cocker Spaniel and a poodle and all that. I see it all the time. Look, the brother, look, me and him about the same age. We know we see things that the young man don't see. They wind up alone and becoming widows, man. Widowhood is being a single woman.
Right.
That's why a lot of sisters be trying to find a husband. Because it ain't good for a sister to be single, because she has to now fend for herself.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of sisters, they break down off of that being by themselves, man. You know what I mean? You think about it, man. A sister, she got to deal with everything on her own. And she got to deal with the mechanic. She got to deal with movers. She got to deal with a neighbor. If a neighbor is a male and he making noise, she really don't want to, so she'll call the rent office instead of calling the man that's beside her. Right. To go see if we can be cool with this situation, but have him turn his music down. So sisters being widows, man, is crazy. You're by yourself.
If I could, sir, you're 100% right. They have to deal with all of that, and on top of that, they're gonna have to deal with the Lord. You understand what I mean? They're gonna have to deal with the Lord when the Lord brings judgment on this place. If they don't have compassion on their people, man. Right. You understand? Right. If you see the World War III getting ready to happen right before your eyes, you should be asking yourself, what can I do to get in the Lord's good favor? Right. Because at that point, you can't protect the devil cannot protect you from missiles. Right. Yeah. Right. And he can't protect himself right now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you definitely better, get up in this truth and start loving your people, man.
Right.
If you can jump down to the story with Derek Chauvin. Rock. Rob, can you hear me? That's what, if you don't mind, find the story right there with David showing, so there might be something that's going down right there. Hello?
Hey, what happened, man?
Switch it down, showing it, and take the purpose, get back to us.
Right. I just figured that out.
What happened?
Yeah, they have it at their end.
I got the story, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mother of black child
No.
seen.
Are they able to hear us though?
We still live, basically.
We still live. Go
The
ahead.
David Chauvin story.
Oh, so like-
One day, yeah.
So we still live. They not live.
They're not live because they just
Okay.
working.
Okay. No sweat.
So he's gonna pull up the story about the former cop who killed our brother George Floyd and what he said. You know what I'm saying? It's a typical saying, just like every oppressor will be saying, you know. It's I.S.U.P.K story number 9 right there. Yeah.
It's like,
Didn't get it?
no, I got it now, sir.
All right. All right. So he gonna get it, you know. But it's the same typical thing that we always constantly have to hear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we have to hear this as like Commander.
Show me. I'm just looking at You can hear us, Maran?
Yes, sir. Yeah, y'all was live the whole time. We went down for a second.
Con, no sweat. No sweat.
Con, sir.
All right. What?
Got it?
Con. Derek Chauvin pleads not guilty to indictment alleging he used similar restraints as one used on George Floyd on black teen in 2017. Derek Chauvin pleaded not guilty on Thursday to an incident indictment alleged he violated a then 14-year-old boy civil right in 2017 when he allegedly used a similar restraint on the boy as one he used on George Floyd in 2020. Chauvin was convicted earlier this year of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's death, and sentenced to 22.5 years in prison. He is currently being held in Minnesota's only maximum security prison, Oak Park Heights.
And where's that at? Again?
Oak Park, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oak Park Heights. Floyd's death on May 25th, 2020 sparked worldwide protests last year after the video emerged of Chauvin kneeling on the neck of the handcuffed and prone black man as he cried out for help until losing consciousness. During the jury selection process for Chauvin's trial, Minneapolis announced a $27 million settlement on to Floyd's family. A separate 2-count indictment alleges that in 2017, Chauvin held down a black teen by the throat, hit him in the head with a flashlight, and held his knee on the boy's neck and upper back while he was prone, handcuffed, and not resisted. Chauvin was responding to a domestic call about the teen assaulting his mother. Body cam footage has not been made public.
Wow.
Chauvin is accused of using more violent force than he acknowledged in the police report, where he wrote that the 6'2", 240-pound teen resisted arrest and that he used body weight to pin him to the floor.
They hire a lot of the white racists to patrol our areas.
So y'all give the fact that he brought up the kid's size, right? It shows that they're using, they're trying to say that we are monsters, right? The fact that he brought the young man's size, they're trying to say that we are monsters, that they have to put the knee to our neck to restrain us.
Right. We're a threat.
Right.
Sir, if I could, this is speaking about a 14-year-old. Now, this is 14-year-old brother that's 6'6", 6'2", 240 pounds. Right. And I tried to explain this to even my own flesh sister, my carnal sister. I have a nephew. He's 6'4". He's 6'4", like 260, and he's 14 years old. Right. You understand? But his mind, he thinks like a child.
You need to give him a fly.
I mean, but he thinks like a child, and he doesn't realize he's 6'4", 260 pounds. So I'm telling my sister, look, he's different from other kids. You have to teach him to move differently. She doesn't see it though. You understand? Because a devil like this,
in their eyesight, he's a grown man. That is a ex-convict walking the streets.
Right.
That's how they look at us. They don't look at us as a citizen or a black man. When you start with, I used to work for this white dude, and every time we would ride through the hood, and he reminded me he was the boss. A lot of times I was giving a snap. Right. It wouldn't have been nice. But when I snapped, back then when I snapped, I go overboard. But it wouldn't have been nice, so I had to hold my tongue. But every black female was a crack or a whore. Every black guy that we was driving was a drug dealer. Right. In his eyes. Mm-hmm. Like what black people don't realize how white men view us. Right. And they view us from the media being pushed because the media know what they're doing because the media is making Latinos and blacks to be criminals, even to Africans, even to the Asians, even to the Arabs. What black people got to start realizing that this is how they look at us. Like that's our biggest problem. We think white people look at us like everything is okay now. That's a lie. Right. We've been believing in lies. So what the point to mention is, like you said, and it's real. And then listen, if you love your nephew, you need to really make her understand how a white cop would look at black men, right? Or someone like his size. Let me tell you something. Even in prison, don't nobody want to mess with no 6'5" dude. Right, not at all. You know what I mean? Right.
So I can say, if I could, they often say in the court system, you're judged by your peers, right? But you have to understand, those devils, their sons are not 6'6" and this many pounds. You understand? Their sons are frail from the time they come out to the time they go back into the grave. Right. You understand? You talk about a 14-year-old child. They know what a 14-year-old child looks like based on what they produce. Right. You understand? So we're never peers. Right. You understand? They'll never understand mercy on the brother.
Can I add one? You remember the 17-year-old oppressor who went out with the rifle doing all this? Right. He's a child, but he wasn't looked at as a beast, although he shot at black people. Yeah. He although and he said he was defending what? The businesses. Right. So he not a monster for shooting black people. Right. But here's his young brother. He's only 14 years old. He's now starting to see the world just a little bit different from when he was a youth or younger. Right. You know what I'm saying? But because he's 6'3", X amount of weight, whatever it was, now he's a threat. Right.
Michael Brown was pretty young.
Yes.
And big.
You know,
Trayvon Martin was bigger than Jefferson.
Yeah. Oh, he dealt with Zimmerman ass. It's a lot. You know what I mean? I don't see how these gangsters from Miami, thugs, got Zimmerman walking around. I ain't saying do nothing.
If I could,
he going up in Walmart buying what he wants. It's like he got a free pass. Go ahead.
I'm saying that this is the culture within the police force. Yeah. It's always the same culture, you know.
That culture ran back when they formed the police force. Yep. All the way back to the 1800s. The Irish and the they disrespected, black people.
Even back in the plantation. On a plantation.
Yeah. Right. The slave bath. Go ahead, brother.
Zimmerman even auctioned the gun off.
Yeah.
And killed Trayvon.
Yeah, that was like, and he was being disrespectful.
Yep.
You're right. He was being disrespectful.
And on top of that, he saw a few, I think, photos of the hoodie and some Skittles in the can of Arizona.
Right.
You know.
And that's what they do to us.
Yep.
I don't mean to divert, but all this bringing the same
Back to the
awareness
yep.
to this.
Yeah.
And he was just, most cops are just white racists.
God.
And when you start to understand that, and you ain't supposed to be like, this cop is good, this cop is bad. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be just special wary of cops, period.
Like if I may, they told us from day one, they're blue.
Yeah.
They're not black, they're not white.
Yeah, they blue. They blue.
And on top of that, if I could, sir, and that shows you that no matter how
Which is being controlled by the Klan. I mean, not but that white racist garbage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that shows you no matter how many times an incident happens to an Israelite with them, that no matter how many quote unquote training, they need more training. Well, how many years they've been training to deal with our people?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And they only use that blue garbage to convince black cops and Hispanic cops.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the whole thing of saying we're blue. When I was in the service, some white boy said the same garbage where we was getting ready to fight on some black and white. Yeah, I was in the military too. Right. Don't be surprised. I was in the military, you know what I mean? But he tried to stop it, but I already chose my side. It was a brother in Tennessee, and I was strictly down with him.
Right.
I didn't care what the argument was. I was down with him. And then we was getting ready to rumble because a brother from Tennessee, and I love them brothers down south. They some of them brothers that was about that work when it comes to knowing the white man's the goddamn devil.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's one of the things. Same thing with Baltimore. We up in Baltimore school right now.
Right.
Baltimore understands the white man, he's the devil, or they know that he's the enemy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead, brother.
If I may piggyback on what Captain Asaparian said, right, about the cops, they're saying the cops need more training, right? But in that article, they're trying to say the cop did nothing wrong because a couple of years back, 2017, he did the same thing to a team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what they saying is he is trained to use brutally force on us. He did the right thing according to his training, so he shouldn't get no time.
Right.
That's all they're saying. Yeah. In other words, they saying Salakia, a middle finger to Israel, to black society.
And they just basically trained the killers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not really cuff us. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous how a brother can get stopped and get handcuffed and wind up dead.
Right.
And he wasn't even in the commission of a crime.
Right.
Like that's really crazy. You know what I mean?
It's like also if there was a war like when it was in Afghanistan, and when some Americans were stuck over there, they were pleading with them and appealing for the humanity of the Americans that they got captive over there.
Right.
Like you will plead for their humanity, but won't plead for black people and Hispanic people's humanity, because in your eyes, in our oppressors' eyes, we're not human. We're beasts. We're brute beasts and monsters.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Well, meanwhile, we didn't terrorize. Last I checked, I don't know. Have we ever terrorized anybody?
No.
Have we ever went into your lands and conquered? You know, so how dare they say that we beasts and brutes and all that and treat us like that? But we know because of the truth what we're dealing with now. The big question is, what are you Christians think? What are you Christians going to do about it?
Right.
Seeing the things happen constantly, and it's a treasure. I wish that, they'd be saying, I wish that would happen to my kids. Well, what you going to do?
Right.
What you going to do? You going to go march? We shall overcome.
Right.
Good luck.
And you know what's so crazy, that they always use a black prosecutor. You know what I mean? Like they always use a black prosecutor to say that the cop didn't do anything. And then once you start looking at that black prosecutor, they married to a devil. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or they in hooch with the Edomites. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what killed me about the goddamn civil rights. Like not we, but our people marched for black police, so we become black police officers, so that we wouldn't get brutalized. Yeah, and we won't get brutalized even if we commit a crime. And we won't be harassed if we're walking down the street. But here it is. That same training is in a Latino cop and a Judite cop.
Yeah.
And they do the exact same thing. I was in DC where I saw, this is no lie, this is back in the 90s. I'm up in a 7-Eleven on Maryland Avenue. There's a dude in there, a Hamite working behind the counter, and there's a panhandler that he picked up one of those pizza things to hit him. And a few of us, the one that you picked up the pan, and he said, "I'll hit you." And the dude was frail. He was just hungry. You know what I mean? You could just tell he was just hungry. It was late night. I had just got off a job. Anyway, the Hamite did that. Now, I'm not reminding everybody, I'm not in the truth. But I said, yo, my man, I told him, yo, my man, I wasn't in the truth. I said, my man, you should let him hit you with that joint and just shoot that hell out of him. Lemon, you know what I mean? But I was like, in the support of the brother. Right. Anyway, the cops rolled up, right? So the young dude with his woman. He gets into the argument as the cops come in. He gets in the argument with the Hamite. The Hamite, he swole up as he see the cops come in. So the brother started, going off and then said, the hell with the police. But anyway, the police got mad. And there was 2 black cops. They beat this brother, dragged him out of the 7-Eleven. 2 other black cops joined in, 4 black cops. His girl screaming. I had to try to stop her from running into him. Backup of 4 white cops, and they still beat him. Then they beat his girl down because she broke free, and they beat him down. This is what cops do. This is what a lot of black cops, not all black cops, because I had to deal with black cops out there at the camp, and they were on the side of the I.S.U.P.K. and they respected what the I.S.U.P.K. doing. That's right. We was up in the Hebrew Academy up in Fort DuPont. A sister, you remember that? Matter of fact, she spoke to you. Go ahead. You might want to tell the story. How when I asked you about what did she say?
So she first rolled up on us the first time. You hadn't arrived yet, sir. So she had pulled up, and she was asking, "What are we doing here?" So it was like, we're teaching self-defense classes. Then she says, "I see those shields on your shirt." Right, so basically we just exchanged greetings and so forth, and she drove off.
I remember she driving over, seeing you talking. I was up the hill, we were eyes. So we saw when we started talking to her. Right?
So the second time you was with us at that time, General, right? And she had pulled up, so I went back to her because I had spoken to her the first time to see if everything was right, and she was basically like, "I'm happy to have you guys out here."
Yep. That's so a police officer
out here because your presence here deters crime.
Now imagine that. Sister police, park police said the I.S.U.P.K. deters crime.
Like, if I may, at the last Hebrew Academy, there was a brother at the park, officer, who said the same thing. Last year, the last Hebrew Academy, 2018 class, right?
Right.
There was an officer who approached I.S. Common War, a brother.
Right.
And he said basically the same thing. First he asked, what are we doing here? And he said the same thing. And he said, if you guys got any problem with any other officers, here's my card, call me.
I know. And that is really, the next kingdom.
Right.
That's the next kingdom of Satan. Right. I.S.U.P.K.
Damn right.
I.S.U.P.K is that sanctuary of men.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Where brothers and sisters can come up in there. And I done had a lot of dealings with them. I had a sister police officer when I had to go see Metro 1. You know, we get a lot of incidents, so I had to go see him. And she said, "I know who y'all are." She said, "I like some of the speakers y'all be talking, what y'all be talking about." Got into another incident. Black brother, he was like, "Yeah." He said, I had asked him, "So what y'all think about us?" He said, some of the cops agree with y'all, and then there's some that don't." And he's talking about the black cops.
Right.
He's not talking about the white cops.
Right.
So we're gonna be the next police officers. You ain't got to worry about it. Us, snapping or choking somebody out.
Right.
We're gonna choke Esau out when we get in our own land.
Right.
Right. Yeah, right.
We're gonna choke them out when we get in our land. Not in America. We ain't gonna touch them. So don't nobody be silly.
So that was always like a plague. Like you notice that gentleman, there would be a white cop and then there'd be a brother, and then the brother always got to go to the extreme, acting like the super cop. Meanwhile, Esau just sit back and look at him, let this black man terrorize his own people. Right? I remember growing up and seeing that in the Bronx constantly. I never seen one black cop say anything to him either. It seemed like if I say something to this brother for overdoing it to one of our people, then there'll be some consequences. Well, take the consequences,
Right.
That's what you should do. Take the consequences. Lose the job for the sake of you defending your people. That's why the I.S.U.P.K is that important.
Right.
In 2021, under Commanding General Yohanna, you know what I'm saying? Is that much important, because who else gonna step out and talk about what's happening to our people? Right. Nobody else is.
No.
There it is. See? Look at that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Look at that.
Hey, you need to be playing KRS-One, Black Cop.
Black Cop. Yeah, you remember that? Right.
Like, that's a cop that's completely brainwashed and probably did some service time. Like some black cops, right, or some black men are so goddamn brainwashed. And let me tell you, I've seen this over and over, where they leave the goddamn Marines and they think they become a cop and they want to be this gung-ho police, like he fighting for the red, white, and blue. Like
it's a war.
Like he is totally unprofessional.
This was supposed to be pushing him over.
And let me tell you something. That brother knew that if he beat that cop ass, that it would change in the courtroom.
Right. So like I said,
it would change. It wouldn't even be about the cop. It would be about the brother. So the brother, what he did was the best thing that he could do.
So like, in fact, probably if he would have raised a fist there, he wouldn't have made it alive. He wouldn't have lived.
Yeah.
They would have killed him. And they would have been justified killing him.
Yeah.
Because now this beating would have turned into self-defense.
I don't know if I'd have took that beat. I'm gonna just be honest. Forgive me. I think I would have just scooped him up on his legs and just slammed him on his head. Forgive me. I don't believe in taking somebody get checked for that.
And if I could, sir.
But I'm not gonna put myself in that predicament, because I know I've been trained how to deal with police. Now that's one thing, you know what I mean? Okay.
Right. If I could too, then you imagine while this was happening, and there's nothing new, the kids that had to be watching this from their doorstep and seeing it, you could imagine what's going through their mind. But he's a black man just like me. Why are he doing that? And nobody ever giving answers to that child.
Right.
Nobody explaining.
Just seeing it, right?
Yeah, it does something to a child. So, but obviously, when that child get older,
you know what they explain?
Yeah,
that nigga that did something wrong. Yeah, probably selling drugs. You know what I mean? Right. That is typical.
So, like, if I may add,
that's what we think of our own people.
Yep.
And I remember back in the days, just to bring piggyback on that, I remember before the cell phones and all that.
Yeah.
And some of y'all might remember. Like I knew dudes that was when I was young got killed when they was like in their teenage years and they was older than me. And the neighborhood was like, you know, they go on his past history. And they figure if the cops say he had a knife, he probably had a knife.
Right.
Which someone that was there said he didn't have no knife.
Right.
And the cop shot him. Anyway, a lot of those stories when I was a kid of cops beating down, beating down blacks, killing blacks, black people would take the side of the media.
Right. Come on.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
But the cell phone, you can see, the proof, the facts,
Right.
and the cops still basically win. Because that cop should be locked up for assault. You know what I mean? Like he beat him down. And that brother wasn't fighting back. Like because he wasn't fighting back, that cop was supposed to get locked up and do jail time. Look at it.
So I did right in Baltimore too. So
Look, look, the brother didn't even swing back. Look, he steadily beat. Like how you gonna beat a brother down like that and the brother didn't throw one punch? Like he ain't supposed to lose his job. He's supposed to be locked up for that. I ain't saying the brothers, but I'm talking straight justice. Because that brother right there, he did something evil toward the brother.
Right.
You know?
And he beat him.
See, the other brother wanted to jump in
Right.
without the shirt on.
Even with the broomsticks.
Yeah. They want to jump in. But they know the end result.
He could have had an opportunity to stop him.
And he's such a punk, he couldn't even knock him out. Salakia. And that's probably why he's mad.
Salakia, sir. Also, if I could, you could tell that's something personal. You know what I mean? Amongst all of them, because there's no way.
You know what it is?
Those-
It's Salakia. It's emotional.
Come on.
Go ahead.
Because there's no way they let all these brothers around them, one with a broomstick in his hand, and they're not paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
There's no way letting so many people get so close to them while they beat on this brother here.
They want to jump in.
Come on.
You out there, you want to jump in, but you know the consequences.
Right.
You know what I mean? They know the consequences. They probably, selling drugs, might be dirty, but want to get in there. You know what I mean? Like you see this happen, and man, you trying to let me not get in it. You know what I mean? I've been in situations, just like the story I was telling you.
Right.
The cop told me to get the F out of there or the same thing will happen to you. I started to say something and another dude pulled me away. Because I was mad when they beat him down. Then I was mad because they beat his woman down. Well, they didn't beat her down, but they slammed her. And all she was worried about was her man. Crazy. LeBron gonna make me mad. I be getting mad. If I was at home, but I'm watching the Black White News, I'd be furious.
So like, you ever saying something over there?
Hey, come on, Mariah, you say anything? You go ahead and, you can chime in, Mariah. Your diet?
Yeah, y'all covered it, sir, if I may.
We ain't covered. I know you got some sort of issues on a black cop beating a brother now.
Oh man, it's
I can see your movement, huh?
Oh, count on Khan. It's so many stories. It's ridiculous. Sir. I mean, I know about black cops. Meg, growing up in the hood,
right?
Just like so many other brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K. Man, like we got stories of. It was like some new. I remember being in the world, and it was this one cat who he was in the world. He was all the way in the world. He was hustling, and he came into my brother's crib like 4 a.m. with this sad face, and he was saying like, "Yeah, the cops, man, they just basically took my money." Basically, he just, he was so sad.
Hey, Marah, they took his drug money.
And they took his drug money,
He couldn't re-up,
and let him go. And then one of my friends, he I remember he came back with all these lumps on him one time. You know, we was all out in the world. He came back with all these lumps on him. You're like, what happened? He was like, they just took his drugs, beat him up, and let him go. And opposite territory.
Hey, you know what, Marah? And that's the stories I know about police officers. They would, especially in New York, they would do that around Christmas time. They would beat you down and take your money. They go up in a spot, handcuff you to the radiator, try to find a stash, and beat you down until you tell them where the stash at, because they ain't feel like waiting around and searching everything. So you wind up giving up the stash, the money, and then he'll uncuff you. As soon as he uncuff you, you just lay down on the ground in pain.
Hey, Salaki, if I may add to something what Officer Marah said about taking your money. I remember having my first job, my first slavery in this white man's world, Salaki, right? Now, I came home after the block just got rushed. Right? And so the cops threw me against the wall too. They took my money and they took a pay stub out of my pocket. He said, "What's this?" Ripped it up. We're in the precinct now. He put my money in my little envelope. This when they used to do that back in the 90s, right? I said, "That's my money. What are you doing?" He said, "Where's your pay stub?" I'm like, "Oh." So the cops robbed me. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We come out of all kind of oppression up in, brothers in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
I got my own little stories of being roughed up, also tossing one of them myself, but they got it on computer where cops just double check when they stop me, they be like, "Oh yeah, you like fighting police." Yeah. They start tightening up the cuffs. But we all done had it, been through it. You know what I mean? I've been through it a few times. Got roughed up by the police, been threatened by the police. Of course, back then I was goddamn wrong. I'm not going front. I was wrong. Yes, I was wrong back then. That was when I was in the world. Right. You know what I mean? So
we got this now. If you could, Marah, you died. Read that one with the Chicago.
Yeah.
Say it again, sir.
The story about Chicago and the 43 people shot, six fatally in Chicago violence.
Counter Wakaj, sir. At least 43 people shot, 6 fatally in violent Chicago weekend.
Go ahead, man. I'm gonna just take time, man, because you know what it is. Like, okay, Chicago, and I understand oppression, right? But them niggas slocking, them brothers in Chicago, like how you gonna have like it's crazy. I'm just saying, like, drugs ain't selling like that, but the only thing is marijuana. Drugs ain't selling like that. You know what I mean? I'm just speaking about the world, right? It's either a lot of brothers in Chicago's fucking, excuse my language, is emotional, right? You know what I mean? And sometimes I'm thinking the cops want black people to die. Yeah. They want all this. Black politicians, if I was in Chicago speaking, I'm gonna blaze their damn leaders. Straight up. Every week. I'm gonna blaze it, and then I'm gonna go into try to look for another camp spot where white people at, and I'm gonna blaze it. Yep. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna blaze it. I'm gonna blaze black leadership and the whole city of Chicago. Non-stop. I'm not even gonna talk about the gangs. I'm gonna talk about the people that's getting money off of the gangs killing one another. Because the gangs evidently ain't making no money. Because if you making money, you ain't got time to kill because you don't want to mess up your business.
That's how it used to be.
You know what I mean? That's how it always is. Money over the bull. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying all of it is wrong, but I would blaze Chicago about, I heard a story that I heard a brother say this in one of the rooms, and he said, Chicago dudes is like this. If they can't kill you, they're gonna go after your kids. Like I don't know how true that is, and if it is, that's something weak.
Right.
Yeah, they all went to jail. You're right. What's that? Greg Neal, you're right. And that's what I'm saying. Chicago is still doing something that's like back in the 80s, back in the 90s. Chicago really need help.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And Mama Quan, he's a hell of a captain. And he get it in.
That's right.
He gets it in with his crew.
That's right.
Right. I know he gonna blaze, you know what I mean? That's my brother there.
That's right.
And them leaders, I hope, man, let me tell you something, man. This is crazy. I want to know what's the death toll in 2021 right now.
Asylum, sir, I got that right here.
My man, go ahead, brother.
This is this off the website called Hate Jackass. It's strictly dealing with Chicago. They got 612 homicides right now. They even show you a person gets shot an hour in every hour, 1 hour and 51 minutes in Chicago, and somebody gets murdered every 10 hours and 16 minutes.
Right, somebody gets shot. That's damn near like every 2 hours, somebody gets shot.
Come. Out of the 612 homicides, total number of people that have been shot is 3,398 so far right now.
How many?
3,398.
3,000 people just get shot.
Two less than 4,000.
Two less than 4,000.
No, sloppy. That's two less than 34.
Okay.
3,400.
Okay, two less than 3,400. Still, that's a lot of people. Still, that's a lot of people. Man, my brother, Mama Quan, he a hardcore soldier from Chicago.
Right.
And he be going hard. You know what I mean? I know he be going hard. No doubt. Like, that's crazy. I can chime in. That's just crazy to me. 46.
So I'm just sorry about me.
Come on with
I
it.
think some of those murders is past beefs, like older brothers that have been killed, and then younger brothers is picking it up.
Right.
You know, I think that's like everywhere, all major cities.
Yeah, you can say that again if they. But what, Marad, did you hear Awanda? Were you able to hear it?
Say it again, sir.
Was you able to hear the brother when he?
Colin McCon, sir.
Okay.
It was a little low, but I could hear him.
Okay. You can say it again.
Come. I was saying, some of those killings in Chicago, or a lot of them, they probably from like past beefs, like younger brothers, so they older brothers and been killed by other younger brothers, older brothers, you know, and the beef just keep going on and on.
Right.
Like generational almost.
Generational beef.
Come.
Right.
It's a lot, sir. One thing I know for sure, that might be the case, but one thing I know for sure, all those murderers and people being murdered there are either one, Christian, or two, Muslim.
Come.
I mean, that's it right there.
Right.
That's
Look
the
at
whole
my head,
that gets right to the bottom of it. That's why all of that is happening. I mean, and any of those brothers, if they run into Captain Malquai over there, it changes their lives. I mean, they be booted up and they be on the opposite side. Instead of murdering brothers, they'll be giving brothers life, man.
Right. And let me give my man, my brother, Captain Malquai, some props. He for sure stepped to a brother that was talking that game talk.
Right.
He punked him.
Right.
Straight up. How it's supposed to be done in I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
He punked him properly. Not threatened him, but still punked him. In front of his woman. It's like, I know that's a heavy thing you gotta take. That's an L you gotta take in front of your woman. Like you ain't doing nothing. And he jumped in for his woman.
Right.
So I give my brother Captain Malquai a hand. And his cat.
Right.
holding it down in Chicago. Oh,
If I may, sir, I got two scriptures. If I could pull them, sir.
come on with it.
Proverbs 5:23. Oh, Salaki, give me Isaiah like Proverbs 28:10.
Scripture, Proverbs 28.
Salaki, give me Jeremiah 50:6, and then we just gonna do Proverbs 5:23. I only got two, sir. If I could just pull these two, if I may, because everything y'all saying is just, you know, it's so on point. I mean, it's like more than heavy because it's. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's definitely heavy,
Right?
But reality to the point where is, you know, is affecting our families, is affecting our lives.
Right.
If I may, if I can just get this, can I get whatever one you got first, 5:50 and whatever one you got
I
first.
got Proverbs 28 and 23.
All right, I just want to do Proverbs 50:6 and Proverbs 5:23. Jeremiah 50:6. Salaki. Go ahead.
Salaki, say that one more time. I don't want Salaki.
If you could just do Proverbs 5:23. Salaki, General, do y'all want to break these down, sir?
No, go ahead. I'll let y'all pull them. Go ahead and break them down. But Brian, you good? We in this hey, it's one body, brother.
Kanawakan, sir.
It's one body.
Kanawakan, sir. Captain Osh, you want to break anything down, sir?
No, you go ahead. You handle it. I'm looking at trying to find some murder rates.
I got Proverbs 5:23.
All right, I'm gonna let Yediah get Jeremiah 50:6. You got it.
So what was loud?
Proverbs chapter 5, verse 23. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray.
Here's the thing that happens to us. We die and are without instruction. Like those brothers that's dying over there, they dying without instruction, man. Like ain't nobody, just like General Kathum and Captain Osh and Captain Saparia and everybody was bringing out, is that, you know, we don't have no leaders that really care for us. Our leaders care for money. Our leaders care for all the pleasures of America, man. Like our leaders don't leave us anything but to die. And that's what happens with us. They don't give us righteous instruction the way y'all do in the I.S.U.P.K. The men of the I.S.U.P.K., you know, down to a student can give you righteous instruction. He ain't allowed to teach, but if he had to say something, it would be right. You know what I mean? The troopers, they ain't allowed to teach, but if he had to say something, it would be right. It would guide life correctly. A sister, she ain't allowed to teach, but if she had to say something, it would be correct. You know what I mean? You know, all the captains, officers, troopers in the school, the generals, they'll give us righteous instruction that save our life. We not out there on the corners dying. We not out there on the corners shooting everything up. Right. We're not out there on the corners claiming corners. We not looking for drugs. We're not selling drugs. All we doing is teaching our people, and like you said, punking drug dealers.
Let me just add.
Go ahead, sir.
We fighting against our people using drugs. Go ahead.
And that's another thing that we do, which they hate about us. We fight our people using drugs. We fight against that to teach them, to give them righteous instruction. And we die in our folly, man, in our wickedness. Like, you know, and that's what's happening out there in Chicago. There's a number of brothers and sisters getting hit by stray bullets, dying in their iniquity, in their folly, you know, in the things that the Lord has punished us with for us doing wrong. Right. We dying out there with no leadership, with no real instruction, except for the I.S.U.P.K. out there in Chicago, out there in Indianapolis, out there on the West Coast, on the East Coast, in Nicaragua, South Carolina, North Carolina, you know, UK, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic. That, like, we all over this globe teaching righteous instruction that people take for weakness until they end up on a goddamn news scene or the article of somebody's, you know, radio show or in the story somewhere. Like, I'm pretty sure out in Chicago, some of those people probably heard Captain Mawquad and all the officers over there.
You know,
teaching all the words of the Lord, everything that's supposed to be done, the righteous instruction, but yet, you know, that some of them may not have listened. Now, I'm not saying that they did, but we definitely out there on those corners giving righteous instruction compared to what they believe in. I'm pretty sure the 99% of those was Christians or Muslims, just like Thamayim said, and yet they somebody's news article, man. Can I pull one more, sir, and that's it? Can y'all hear me, sir?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay,
And-
I think
and you're right, brother. You know what I mean? On that. They done heard it, they rejected it, and there's no one to lead them. You know what I mean? And we gotta just push a little hard. Right. And listen, and here's really what it is. Even if they ain't hearing Marwa, other brothers in other cities gotta hear us speak about Chicago. Right. The pressure got to always go on Chicago because they murdering more, and the people that's not involved in the criminal activity, they the victim as well. Right. So I always try to tell brothers, yo, no matter what city is, no matter what's going on in your city, whatever's popping across the nation, that's what you got to bring out. Because that's what they hearing on the news. And they hearing what the news is saying, but they got to understand what the I.S.U.P.K is saying also, as far as what the topic is. Like the media have their own justification for whatever happened. The I.S.U.P.K comes out there and we give our opinion or what's right, what's wrong about the same topic. Right. If I'm in DC, you think brothers ain't hearing about what's going on in Chicago? Shit, I'm slacking. We gonna blaze about Chicago. Right. Because what's going on in Chicago might start happening again in DC. Right. You know what I mean? So definitely, you right, Marah. You know what I mean? They ain't hearing it. But guess what? I'm gonna keep saying it. Right. Until they do hear it. Or until Christ's sheep hear what we say. Right. Because they still out there wandering around, and the Lord is going to bring them in to hear those words. You know what I mean? Right. Like right now, they might not be ready for the Lord. And then one day the Lord have them walk in front of Marwa camp, or in front of the Philly camp, or in front of the DC camp. But we always got to be on point with, and let me say this, like I said before, the I.S.U.P.K is always on point talking about current affairs. That's what separates us from the other groups. The other groups be trying to go into some deep knowledge and all that. The average brother want to know, how do I survive right now? Right. The average sister want to know is, what do I do about my husband that may not want to really be devoted or help me out? Right. You know what I mean? We ain't also always into what happened in the past. I.S.U.P.K is always about what's happening now. How can we fix their lives? How can my life be fixed now? You know what I mean? That's what separates us from the other groups.
Colonel Khan, sir. If I may, can I pull one more scripture if that's not too bad, sir?
No, get down, Marah. You know you my brother.
Colonel Khan. And this is a video of Chicago gangs. They just rolling through the hood through gang territory, just showing everything that's going on, if I may.
And they the victims of America. That's right.
Colonel Khan.
With all that, they the victims. The victims that they victimize, and then they get victimized.
Colonel Khan.
Like they don't realize that they the slave in America.
Colonel Khan, sir.
Like you ain't really. Y'all gonna make me turn this into a can.
Count on my con, sir. Can I
You
get
got any audio on it, or is a lot of cursing?
No, I can play some audio on it, sir. I was just playing it in the background. If you want the audio, I got the audio, sir.
You can play a little bit of it.
Count on my con.
See these dudes is very little.
Okay, I heard in the neighborhood before, but why don't y'all tell people a little bit about this neighborhood right here? Oh, y'all are from this
We out
neighborhood?
here every day, man. Motherfucker, look for us, man. We out here every day, man.
Dangerous
We got going up
neighborhood.
from 89th out here, man. You know how the fuck we come, man.
Yeah, no.
I ain't gonna lie, them bitches hate me, bro. Them bitches that put 2 guns on me on my dead homie. Them
That's
bitches.
enough. We all know that language. But let me tell you something. Some of them brothers is going to die.
Right.
Count on my con.
You ain't going to see them brothers no more.
Amen.
That's what they don't realize, and they think that's honorable. And you know what's so crazy is that what the I.S.U.P.K know that's honorable is when I die for my brother in righteousness.
That's right.
That's what they don't know.
That's
They don't want. They want to be honored. Like brothers want to be honored. They want to have that sort of honor. It's something in us that we want to be honored because we've been known as being a slave. But the problem is the only thing that's handed to them is being a gang member and being a criminal and being a murderer to your people. They ain't killing white folks. I don't know when the last time I even heard an article where a black man that killed a white man.
Right.
But Chicago for sure know how to kill a Negro. That's one thing they professional at.
Okay.
They ain't too much into saving a Negro's life, but they for sure into killing the Negroes or taking the Negro's life and a child. That's the sad thing. Half of them probably don't even train on shooting too much. Like how you kill babies and children.
This is
Count on my con, sir.
This is what Martin Luther King's march. That's a face of civil rights right there.
Yeah, that's civil rights. Let me tell you something else what it is. That's women's live.
Right. Also, that's right.
That's throwing the black man out the household.
Right.
Because a black man, he gonna want to see his child live. He gonna tell him, he gonna give him the knowledge so that his child won't be in the midst of being murdered.
Right.
If he love his son, if he love his daughter.
Okay.
You want to see your son do great things. Killing another brother or doing 20 years behind bars is not great things. You ain't producing a whole lot of children behind bars. At least a whole lot of grandchildren anyway. Okay, any other article? Anything anybody else want to say on this? Not saying any other article or anything.
No, sir.
So there's no articles.
There's no argument.
Oh, I heard you.
Okay.
Keep repeating.
So, if I could, so
Come on with it.
it's been over. This was back in July
I
7th.
heard you.
This was back in July 7th, but I'm sure it's way more than this now. But it's over 164 children that have been shot in Chicago this year.
That's crazy. Say that real loud again. Wait, you can read the article if you got it.
This back in July 7th.
Okay, like you said, it's what, September now?
Okay.
So you brought
This
something.
is out of the Chicago Tribune, July 7th. Tracking Chicago shooting victims. At the time, it was 2021. So far this year, 164 more than in 2020.
Like, that's crazy. And that's what, remember I said that there was a dude that was saying that if they can't get you, they'll get your children. I don't know if that's true or not. But a brother that was from Chicago, he's saying that's what's being targeted. How many again?
It said over 164, sir.
Over 164 children. That report came out in July 7th, 2021. And ain't no rappers talking about the problem is with black people is that we don't check our people. That's the problem. The I.S.U.P.K gonna check the brothers and sisters in here, and then we're gonna go out and check everything else that's wrong with our people out there. We ain't gonna let nothing get by us. That's why I say go out there and spread that news, man.
Right.
Like we supposed to make Chicago brothers feel bad. We supposed to bring consciousness to them about killing children, killing their brothers and sisters. That's the purpose of camps. Like that's a current affair that the entire nation knows about. Everybody know that Chicago is just straight up killing one another. They killing blacks. And if you a brother, man, and you in I.S.U.P.K, you supposed to go out there. That's why we gonna wake them up. The brother said the whole town is asleep. The purpose of camp is to shake everybody up. To keep shaking them up. Like we got to go out there and speak on all these current topics and put them out on YouTube.
If I may, right?
Put them on with it.
One thing I noticed about Chicago, as far as the streets, right? Chicago was the first city I ever seen that has ladders. When I mean ladders, I'm talking extended clips and drones and stuff like that. Coming from New York, those were things you saw on video games and TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
extended clips and all that.
And due to the fact that the black man can't get gun license like that, you got to get. So my point is, this is coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Chicago is set up for the downfall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody should see that.
They don't care.
Right.
Because they know somebody out to try to kill them. Okay. You know what I mean? They say white people was dropping guns off in the hood.
Okay.
And more than likely, that white man, guess who he is? A goddamn cop.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the only thing ain't nobody saying. That it's probably cops. Right. And black politicians ain't saying nothing. If I was a black politician, I'd still accuse the cops of putting them guns in there. Wouldn't give a damn. I'll have my own security team.
Right.
like what the hell is the reason of you becoming a politician and you become a wimp?
Right.
You ain't supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Like you ain't supposed to, that's what I don't understand. Like the baby, he said something, they make him retract it. They made him retract that words and apologize for it. What's the use of me having millions of dollars and I can't say what I want? I ain't got no money and I say what I want. That's freedom. I'm just saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, what's the point? Years ago, we would say, well, you know, we would need to get where we need to be in order for us to, you know, speak about it.
Right.
Let me, what they used to say, let me get my finances straight and I'll speak on it. Now they get their finances straight and they clam up. Yeah, they clam up or they get punked. That's really getting punked. You're going to say something, you ain't going to stand on it.
They put baby on timeout.
Yeah, they put them on timeout. Yeah. But before they go on timeout, they say, yo, apologize in public. Like, you made that is be made. You know what I mean? It's be made.
One story about the spike of gun values.
Okay, go ahead. I knew you was greedy.
That's what I'm sorry. I got to go up to date.
You can't see it?
Oh, you got it?
I got a more up-to-date version of those kids being shot. It's over 200, it's 261.
Go ahead, let me read this real quick. This is the recent one. And then we're going to go to the next one, and then we're going to close out.
The New York Post, September 11th. More children in Chicago have been shot than died from COVID-19.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're in Atlanta, you're supposed to be talking about this. If you're in Florida, you're supposed to be bringing this out. If you're in Texas, you're still supposed to be bringing that out so it won't happen in your city.
Right.
That's the purpose of a prophet.
Go ahead. Come. The CDC reported that 214 children 17 years old or younger.
How much? How many?
214 children, 17 years old or younger, have died of COVID-19 nationwide so far this year, compared to 261 Chicago kids who have been victims of gunfire.
You hear that? You see the numbers with COVID and gunfire. Go ahead. Oh, tell them the two numbers for COVID, and then just say the other numbers for the violence.
The COVID deaths for children, 214.
214. Go ahead.
The gunfire victims of children in Chicago, 261.
261. That means black men have killed more black children than the COVID-19. Crazy. You need to bring that out in your cities.
Right.
And that's the purpose of Black Watch News.
Right.
To bring out what the Commander General Yohanna is saying and the other generals.
Right.
That's the whole purpose. So you to sharpen up on your skills. It ain't for you to get the knowledge and not go out and bring the knowledge to the people. Don't hold that knowledge. Go back out there on the streets. Everything that the generals was teaching me, I go out in the streets.
Right.
That's the purpose. To wake everybody up. And when you start waking everybody up, they're going to start charging these Negro leaders. And then they're going to turn away from the Negro leaders and they're going to start coming into I.S.U.P.K. Right. That's how it worked. That's how it always worked. And if you ain't doing that, then it ain't going to work for you if you got a school. Right? You looking for more men. Anything else?
Go ahead.
The water too. Heavy article, brother. Heavy. Go ahead.
Spike in gun violence continues with 2021 on pace to be the worst year in decades. So far, 2021 is on pace to be the worst year for gun violence in decades, surpassing even the high levels last year. According to the Gun Violence Archive, from January 1st to September 15th, a total of 14,516 people died from gun violence in the U.S. That's 1,300 more than during the same period in 2020. According to Gun Violence Archive, from January 1st to September 15th, a total of 14,516 people died from gun violence in the U.S.
14,000.
That's
brothers, that's also including your city that you go out and speak.
That's 1,300 more than during the same period in 2020, a 9% increase. Mass shootings are also on the rise. Through September 15th, there have been 498 mass shootings across the U.S.
Well, I ain't gonna charge. That's Edomites doing that. We ain't got to deal with the mass shootings. That's angry white people.
What did you say about the other number though?
Yeah.
Is that in the hood, in church, for sure, them pastors be like, oh man, look at the violence and this and that, but that's all they doing is in church talking about it. It's not like the ISUPK. We talk about it inside, but we bring it out there.
Right.
You know, we tell you we go out there.
Let me add something to you. Let me add something to it. And because you ain't a Christian, so let me break it down, Captain Oz. They ain't talking about that. They sing. They singing about Jesus loves you.
Right.
I'm just letting you know they not concerned with what goes on out in the world.
Right.
The hood.
Right.
What they worried about is that plate being filled. So I need y'all to sing real good so they can come out their pockets.
Right.
Like you gotta understand the game is a hustle game. Nothing more. The only like you might go into a community center and they might speak, they might speak about it. But the Christian church, It's strictly on game time. They about hustling you. They ain't about teaching you. They about game.
Right.
Because you're going to mess with their money if you start having people worry about what's going on. I'm just saying, that's how they look at it.
No, no.
Go ahead.
So like, if I could, real quick, right? Even I had this brother who works at my slave. He went on military leave, right? He went on military leave for about 2 months. He came back, and I was just talking. I was like, "How was training? Were you shooting guns?" He said, "Oh, nah, I don't shoot guns when I go on military leave." I said, "What you do?" He said, "Oh, I'm in the choir." I was like, because I didn't ever knew the military had a choir.
Right.
He said, "Yeah." So I was like, "Damn, bro, you've been singing for 2 months." And he was basically like, "Yeah, the military didn't encourage me." So they have, and he showed me pictures. It's him and a bunch of black people. It's like, ain't no Edomites there. It's a bunch of black people. They just got their robes on in the choir singing. All for 2 months. He got to leave work to go sing for 2 months and then come back.
He in the National Guard's Army Reserves.
Reserves.
He got to take a half a day.
Is he a little funny?
Yeah, definitely a little funny.
Here we go, close. Is it? Oh, you got another finish?
No, that was it.
Okay. Hey, but Rob, we're gonna close out. All right. Did we die off? Or did we go off?
I think he might have had an issue.
Okay. Hey, yo, this is Black Watch News under Commander General Yahanna. All right. Commander General Yahanna be here next Monday live, and we're gonna just I'm gonna salute the brothers and the sisters. Show me some of the thumb to everyone. And I got Captain Ashaparian. You go ahead.
Officer Tamiya.
Officer Warrior.
Officer Albert Rogers.
And most of these brothers from the DC camp. Shalom, Israel.
All those good things. Let me tell you a few things about Hebrew Academy. Okay, Hebrew Academy is not, the frat, the white man's frat where you go in and you get spanked on the ass and all that. This ain't that. You understand? This ain't the white man's army where you going in, getting yelled at, doing all types of half homosexual things, being naked with each other and all this and that. This ain't those things. Hebrew Academy is the most honorable service of the work of the Lord, man. Building our nation, building our kingdom up, challenging our brothers with these challenges, mastering the sword, sharpening the sword. All these things that you're going to learn, brothers, starting tomorrow, August 29th. Things that you're going to learn that you're going to use, you're going to be able to use to defend you, yourself, your family, and this nation. That's what Hebrew Academy is about. About integrity, about character, about building up those things that's important. When things get tough, when things get hard, are you gonna run? Are you gonna fear? Are you gonna abandon your brothers? That's what Hebrew Academy is about. The most honorable duty a black, Hispanic, and Native American man can take on this earth in this life. You understand? Way far above anything that you learn from the oppressor, anything that you learn from the oppressive schools, any societies or fraternities or groups that you can be a part of. There's no bond stronger, more powerful than the bond that you will create in Hebrew Academy. Going through the trials, going through the tribulations, going through the challenges. You understand? And those challenges that you will face in Hebrew Academy are challenges that you will face in this walk, building up this nation, building up yourself, serving our King, serving our Lord, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai. All these things is what you're going to learn, brothers. Take this to heart. I.S.U.P.K. Do not fear, no cowards, no excuses.